fresh off of vacation, fresh off of adventures, fresh off of other stuff, I suppose. I can't think of a third thing to round out this analogy.
The boat.
Fresh off the boat. Fresh off
go.
the airplane.
It's too true.
Welcome back to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I am one of your fantastic hosts, Mark.
And I'm going to be your other co-host. I'm Raven. How's it going? You guys miss us? Probably not. Maybe you didn't even think of us. We thought of you.
I thought about y'all. I absolutely did. Because there were certain days when I was like, man, maybe I should just do a solo episode like Raven did that one time.
You're like, here's some shit I could talk about.
And especially because I've watched a ton of movies over the last couple weeks because I've traveled a lot on airplanes. And because they have me in a confined, pressurized tube 30,000 feet in the air traveling across the country and across the world, I'm like, ooh, what movies can I watch? Turns out a lot.
The world is your oyster when you're stuck in an airplane traveling for hours.
Yeah. This last trip was back and forth to Hawaii, and it was 9 hours going there and just a hair over 8 coming back. And I watched, going there, I watched both Dune movies, which was pretty crazy because I knew absolutely nothing about Dune. So I went into this thing just completely blank slate. The only thing I know about Dune is spice, the spice, quote unquote spice references. And I know that they made a terrible movie back in 1984 starring Sting. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, I didn't know anything about it. And I'll say this, after watching both movies, I am genuinely upset that there is not a third one out right this instant because, it was incredible.
He's on the bandwagon now.
I am. What's up, nerds? One of us. So,
I have had absolutely no interest in Dune, period. All of our friends are like, whoa, Dune, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, sorry, guys. It's got my favorite girlfriend, Zendaya, in it, and I still don't want to watch it.
You know, it's wild because, like I said, I didn't have any kind of reference for it. So I just kind of went in there like, oh, man, and the first time I tried to watch it, it was a little bit of an undertaking because I am learning I keep bumping my mic. It is an entirely brand new world and lore and everything else that I have to learn. And as I was sitting here trying to watch it on my couch one day, I was like, this is too much. My brain's not ready for this. Being glued to it on a plane, I was like, well, might as well. Let's go ahead and invest the time because I'm not going anywhere.
No kids to bother you.
Right. No kids to bother me.
That's the biggest thing.
No other distractions to be like, oh, hey, you should be working now or doing some of it. Nope. And it was great. I thought it was awesome. So. Nice.
Very nice. Maybe you can read / audiobook audio listen to the book.
That's a good idea.
And then compare it. Because, most people do tend to watch or read the book first and then they go watch the movie. And they're like, movie was kind of ash. But of course, because you're going to think that the book was more amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, it always is. But, it's one of them things. So you want to tell us about your grand adventures in Hawaii and all the beautiful things you did and seen and probably smelled? I bet the air smells amazing over there.
Oh, man. All right.
So fresh.
I'll tell you this. So Hawaii was incredible. And had it not been for me going on work's dime, i.e. I didn't have to pay for it, it would have been, there's no way I ever would have made that trip. Because when I tell you everything was expensive, everything is expensive over there. That's like the biggest complaint that people have. Like, oh man, it's expensive. Yes, it was. Everything was in. I mean, could I have saved more money? Yeah, I could have had. Did I live it a little bit large when I was there? Yeah, I did.
As you should.
But at the same time, it was also. I went all over that island. I stayed on Oahu Island, which is where Honolulu and Waikiki and everything else is. I stayed there. And I traveled when I was off work. I traveled all over that island. I was there for 9 days and put three tanks of gas in my car. You can get to anywhere on that island in about 45 minutes from where you're at, or at least from where I was at from my starting destination at the hotel. So I'd get done and I'd jet off to the North Shore and go swimming in the ocean, and then I'd go to this other place and find some random roadside stand that would do all this other, that would serve me great, delicious food. It was incredible. I will tell this story, and I will regale all of y'all with stories, I guess, over the next couple of weeks to be like, oh, here's another story from Hawaii. There was one instance where I found this. It's a place called Shark's Cove, and it is this cove where you're in this like lagoon. So right where this cove empties out to the ocean, there's probably about a 10-foot wide area, and there is where the rocks break and the water from the ocean comes into this lagoon. And where the water comes in, there's also like this kind of deep area, but there's also kind of rocks there. It makes like this weird kind of section of the lagoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I got in, the first like half of it, and this thing's probably, I'm terrible with distance, so I can't be like, oh, it's 200 yards long. It was fairly a decent size, but it's probably about waist deep, and then it just drops down to about 12 feet. So not super deep, but deep enough where you can't touch the water. Ooh. And there's fish. I mean, you can see the bottom. The water's crystal clear. It's beautiful. But there's fish and all kinds of animals swimming around. And apparently, I didn't even go to like the other good part where there's like turtles and sharks and more life. I thought I was in the spot. Apparently, if I go on the other side of the rocks, there's more stuff. So anyway, I start swimming to where this break in the rocks are, just because I'm just kind of just looking around, and I kind of run into some current, and I swim against the current like, oh man, this is pretty strong. I mean, it's pretty strong. I can swim against it, but I'm okay. And I see that there was already some people in like kind of like this 10-foot wide circle of where these break in the rocks are. So I go over there, and me and two other dudes are swimming around there and just kind of looking around, and they start to leave, and I dive down into this deep part of this lagoon and where the rocks break. Mm-hmm. And when I come back up, I see this big swell coming towards the lagoon, and I'm like, oh man, I need to get out of here because it's going to come right here, and the current's going to get real strong. No sooner than I thought that and turned around, I felt the water come in, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to make it, so let me get to the edge of this lagoon and just hold on to the rocks. That'll be fine. Before I could do that, because of the way the water came into this little break, it kind of swirled around, slammed me up against the rocks.
Oh.
And then pushed me up onto some other rocks, and it was quick. It was real quick. I was like, oh man, because for about 5 seconds, I was like, oh crap, I need to stay focused because I am in serious trouble.
Oh God.
It pushed me up on these rocks, and I am sitting on these rocks, and I just feel the water just coming past me. And it was a very, very strong current. And I had my foot kind of in front of me, pushing on some other rocks that were just underneath the water. And I was like, I'm going to hang out here as long as I can, because if I get off this thing and this water pushes me, I can't see the rocks underneath of me because all the air bubbles and stuff that were getting pushed up. because if I jump down now, I'm for sure just going to get thrashed by some rocks. And I mean, I got this big bruise on my arm. Uh, I got a scrape, and I didn't even notice that I had like this big bruise until after I was already home. I was taking a shower Friday night, and I looked at my arm and was like, "Holy crap! What in the world just happened?" Yeah, it was kind of scary for a second, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like it. Good Lord.
But everything worked out fine, and no, it lasted for probably about 60 seconds, and then once the water kind of calmed down a little bit, I hopped back in the water and just continued on with my day. But I scraped my hand and my arm and everything else, and still, that was like the highlight of my entire trip, was swimming in this lagoon, because I got to see all kinds of fish and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's Mark's Hawaii story for the week. Next week, I'll tell you about the turtles. Do not let me forget to tell you about the turtles, because it was really cool.
I love turtles.
So, but no, Hawaii was great. But you, Miss Thang, you came all the way down here to Georgia.
I sure did, and you weren't there to come hang out with us.
I know. I really wanted to go, but I just come back from California, and I was also like literally leaving for Hawaii in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I need to spend time with the kids.
Yeah. Because literally everyone was like, "Where's Mark at?" And so then, like, we would all be like, he's going to Hawaii in a few days. And then everyone was like, man, screw that guy. He's having the time of his life over there. I was like, yeah, hanging out with his kids. But, yeah, honestly, our drive wasn't bad. It was like an 8-hour drive for us to get there. And, you do the stops, you gotta pee, you gotta get some foods in you. And Chris drove like the entire time, which was really surprising, because normally him and I will take shifts. But we were just trucking along, just listening to podcasts, listening to silly goose music. I was taking a lot of naps, and it was great. When we got there, it was like perfect timing, because it was like they were just starting to get ready to sit down for dinner. So we got there, and it was your dad and your stepmom, and then your stepmom's mom. So adorable. And this was like the most time that I've ever really had to chat with her. So I really got to chat with Grandma Peacock, and that was just a lovely time. She's so fun. I was like, I'm going to give her some booze at some point. She did have some wine with me, so that was fun.
Really?
Yeah. But dude, that wedding. So because it was, close to the Georgia-Florida line, I was like, man, this place is going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be miserable. It was so perfect. Like, they had a nice breeze. It wasn't hot and humid. It was just like they picked the perfect place with like the perfect temperature. Their ceremony was like super quick and easy. I did notice that the bride, like the whole time walking down the aisle and then at the altar, was just chewing gum, like chewing away. And it was cracking me up so hard, because I was just like, Chris. I was just like, how are you going to walk down the aisle and nobody's going to be like, hey girl, I think you should spit that out real quick. Anyways, I'll mind my own business.
She was probably like, let me live my life.
It really just cracked me up, because I'm like, we're one of those people. We're the smack gum people. You live your life however you want to. It just chuckled me. I don't know. Anyways, but dude, so we sit down at the dinner table for the actual like wedding dinner. Food was great. So we sat with your parents, and then we had Cody and his gal pal sitting with us. And man, oh man, we were like, all right, free drinks. Dude, I don't know if you've talked to your dad about this, but the way that they were pouring this liquor was
Really?
insane. It was okay. So take a red Solo cup, take an entire like cup full, like a measuring cup of 1 cup of alcohol, pour it in there, throw some ice in, splash it off with a little like whatever of your choice of soda, and then be like, here you go. It was insane. Those drinks were being just sloshed around. At one point, your dad was like, he literally just poured like 3/4 a cup of alcohol, like straight liquor, into my cup. So we all had a good time. Safe to say.
That seems like it's fun.
It was quite a wild time. We had some interesting conversations with some people that were there, such as a vet's former brother-in-law that
Oh,
was in
yeah.
prison. Yes, heard some crazy stories from him. I was, I had had enough to drink that I was literally like mind blown by everything that this man was saying, and I was like, this is all I've ever wanted. It's just to meet someone that's been in prison, tried to break out of prison, and had the most crazy, insane stories. That's all I've ever wanted. Just talk to someone and just be like, wow, you're right. I don't ever want to go there. But you make it sound at least a little fun. And then we drove back the next day and weather was great. So no complaints there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weather was really nice here before I left. I was like, man, I hope it stays this way all summer. And then I left, and the highest it ever got in Hawaii was like 87 degrees officially.
Yeah.
Perfect weather. And then I get back here and it's like 95, and
Ugh.
I hate it so
Yeah.
much.
Dude, I don't know if it's just this summer or I don't know. I have been sweating like crazy anytime I go anywhere outside. It's insane how much the heat is like legitimately affecting me. I went to go get a bag of dirt from Ace Hardware today. And I was looking for some rocks for another little thing. And by the time I got back to the car, because it's Father's Day, Chris stayed in the car to call your dad. He literally was like, yeah, Raven's glistening with a sheen of sweat right now because she just had to walk around outside. I was like, shut up, this is miserable. We gotta go home. I need to go wash my face and put on not jeans. Ugh. I hate summer. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a summer girl. I like the flowers and that is all.
I don't even like the flowers. I'm so much more a fall, winter, spring type of person. I
Same.
cannot wait for October to get here already.
Man, I just hope that October's not hot this year. So, sometimes it'll leak all the way into October and you're like, wearing a costume is no bueno.
Yeah.
But I feel you. Are you ready
Oh, I'm ready.
to swing
I
it
am.
off?
What?
I don't know. To fly it off?
Are we just
Like,
are we just making up saying? Are you ready
yeah.
to flip flops on the glib glurps?
I just say a lot of things, and when it starts to stick, that's when I get excited that other
Oh,
people are starting to say it.
okay.
I've seen that some of my friends have been doing that, where I'll say something, and now I see them copying me, and I'm like, oh, heck yeah, it's on. So yeah, anything that I just say that's stupid, I'm just going to keep saying it now.
Okay. Word. All right. Well then, yes. Let's swing it off. This week's movie is 2023 Nicolas Cage, Nicholas Hoult. Is that how you say it? Is it Hoult or
I'm
Holt?
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's Holt.
All right.
We can make it
Renfield.
up. It's okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not like anyone's going to come at us and be like, "Oh, hey, brr." Um, yeah, it's Renfield. I've been wanting to check this movie out for heck, almost a year now. I think it came out a little bit over a year ago, and I've been wanting to check it out because it seems like a kind of a dumb, funny, goofy movie, and I know it was my first time watching it. Raven, was it your first time watching it as well?
It was my first time watching it, but you know what's crazy?
Hmm.
How about you let me know how you felt about this movie? Because we don't ever. It's a very rare moment when Mark Holland gets to go first.
It
So,
is.
Mark, what'd you think of this movie?
I mean, it was fine. I didn't hate it, but there were some parts of it that were genuinely fun. But there were other parts where I'm like, what are we even doing? It was, I. It was very much by the numbers because I was watching it going, all right, well, I know exactly how this is going to play out, so let me just strap in and enjoy the ride. Not like I was looking for like this big revelation in cinema, because I could tell by the trailers that Nicolas Cage was, no pun intended, chew the scenery up as Dracula, and he did. I thought Nicolas Cage absolutely. You know what? I'll say this: I think everybody understood the assignment. I don't think anything was badly acted, but the story just didn't click with me. And
Okay.
I think that's probably my only beef, because honestly, I love Aquafina in this movie, and for me, Aquafina is very hit or miss. And I thought she was great. I thought
Ben
what's his
Schwartz.
face? Ben Schwartz. I thought he was great, even though like he was supposed to be kind of this annoying little asshole. He was great. He fit that role perfectly. Nicholas Hoult and Nick Cage, they did great. Everyone was fine in their roles. It was just the story that got me. Raven, what did you think?
I'm gonna agree with you. I thought that there were, some good, like, little scenes that went on. I really like when Renfield does, like, his thing and he starts going ham on people and he's literally ripping arms off and throwing them at other people and somehow killing them with arms. I like his powers. I thought it was fun just to, like, see that aspect of it. Because, typically if you see something that it's, like, the familiar of a vampire, they're just, like, doing whatever. They're not as crazy as this guy. So I thought that that was interesting. And then I agree with you, like, on the actors. They all did really good in their stuff, but there was just something that didn't really click for it.
Yeah,
But we can dive into that.
we can.
We sure will.
The I guess kind of it was more of like the part that kind of didn't jive with me the most was the part when they kind of explain how Renfield gets his powers.
Because he eats the bugs.
Yeah, because he eats the bugs, and they kind of make it seem like in the beginning, like these are special bugs. These aren't just random bugs you pick up, because he's got them in a little thing, and then he eats them. And I'm like, cool, these are Dracula's special bugs from Dracula's special castle, and they're a very finite resource. I didn't, and then by the end, it was, oh, I just need bugs. I just need to eat bugs anywhere. I'm digging through these flower beds. I'm destroying this kid's ant farm or whatever. And, that led to a funny gag, but I was like, all right, well, I mean, you made this big scene about you letting the bugs go. You can get bugs anywhere, my dude. You're not staying in that nice of an apartment complex.
True. Too true. Yeah. When they like first pulled it up, I was like, okay, that's an interesting concept to be like, oh, you're gonna eat some bugs. But yeah, they seemed more magical almost when they were in his little box. Did you feel that too? And then he's just like, I'm gonna just eat this ant farm. Like, what? Where are we going here?
But no, I wish they would have differentiated between the bugs. I thought a really cool concept that they probably should have, would have, could have explored would have been, not only do different bugs give me different powers or different lengths of times for powers, but for having be like, 100 years ago, I just had to pick up random bugs and eat them. But now, I get these special grubs sent in from Indonesia or wherever, like a country, like mail order edible bugs that are raised like that. Be like, oh no, we're civilized now. We ain't got to do all that. Like, that would have been a good little piece of writing, I think.
Yeah. So true. This movie definitely gave me like the same vibe as like What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know if you've actually watched the show. But
Yes,
like so much of it, I was just like, all right, we're kind of campy. We're doing some fun stuff. I enjoy it.
yeah. I do see that. Yeah, very
Yeah.
much.
And that's what I really like whenever I'm watching, like, especially nowadays, vampire movies. Like, I like that fun little, this is my familiar, and we kind of treat him like shit, but he's having a good time. I mean, I love all forms of, like, vampire and whatever lore and stuff like that, but it was just fun. I enjoyed it. But like I said, when when Nicholas Holt was doing his thing after eating his little bugs, he was going crazy, and I was enjoying it. I also love and like that beginning scene where we watch a priest just explode because Nicolas Cage just goes right into his mouth, and then that's that exploding priest. If you haven't seen the movie, I think that probably sounds weird.
That's one. When you describe it, when you put it on paper and you describe it, it makes this movie seem better than what I think it is. Because you say stuff like that, and you're like, "Oh man,
That sounds cool."
Yeah, that sounds cool." And Nicolas Cage is a vampire, and Nicholas Holt does all this cool action stuff. By the way, Nicholas Holt doing all this cool action stuff. We need to get this man in a franchise. Like,
true. He should definitely do something that would be like really cool with like a bunch of fight scenes.
Right. 5 years ago, we should have put him in a Fast and Furious movie.
God.
Okay.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did you that part where they were like, where is he? We're looking around on our special little camera stuff. Chris and I were like, they got the Fast and Furious God's Eye.
Yeah.
Oh, it destroyed Chris and me when we saw it. We were just like, all right.
Yep, absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh,
I thought the same thing. But oh hell, I can't even remember what I was saying. Shit.
Oh, getting him into a franchise.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, but like the way it sounds on paper better than what it actually is. I think after thinking about it while we're talking about it is that I can't, or it seems like the movie doesn't know what it wants to be. And
Fair.
comedy and horror are a really hard thing to put together and make it work because you have to sacrifice one for the other. You can't. It's very hard where you have an overlap that works because usually, if you make it more comedy, then the horror parts are really zany and over the top. I.e., like a trauma movie or like one of these Hammer horror movies or something like that, where it's just the violence and everything is super over the top. And then when you try to go more the horror route, you do the horror stuff, and then it's like you sacrifice the humor because there's all this violence and stuff. And these are really two hard things to do together. And I don't think they completely botched it, but I think that didn't work in its favor. There were funny moments, but then like in the next scene, you're immediately offset by that where you have Nicholas Holt in his therapy group going, "No, please don't kill my friends." And you're like, like I get why he's doing it, but this funny scene doesn't lead into like this very serious scene that's not funny. And it's not like it was supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be serious, Yeah.
So,
I dare say that you could probably recut this movie and make it better one way or the other.
Okay. So, yeah, I could see that.
But I fell in love with Awkwafina. I ain't even gonna lie. I loved her in this.
Man, I've been saying that forever. She's so cool.
She is.
I do really enjoy her. I know that there's sometimes that I'll watch things that I'm like, you might have missed the mark on this, but I'm gonna give it to you, baby girl. I don't care. She's cool.
No, yeah, she was cool in this, man. Like, and I really liked how she was very much kind of what's the word? she had her goals and her motivation, and everything was crystal clear. Like we knew why she was doing everything she was doing, and there wasn't a point when I'm like, what are you doing? You know, even when she woke up after being unconscious and she woke up in Renfield's apartment, her first thing is like grab the gun and like stop what you're doing. And you know, like I enjoyed that scene because it was a good scene, but you know, it just I wanted to like this movie so much better, Raven. I'm really torn here.
I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. There's a lot of like gaslighting, gatekeeping, and girl bossing in this movie. Good God. Dracula over there being like, it's all your fault. You're the monster. You're the one that's been doing all this. You're supposed to be serving me. And like, you're killing all these innocent people. And also killing bad people. But I don't want the bad people. They taste bad. I want a busload of cheerleaders or some nuns. I do like the scene where he's in that bar and literally like he's looking at a couple and then there's like 4 nuns chilling and then the like scene of all those kids on a bus. Right. It's just they definitely were trying to go a bit more like campy fun with it, but then I get you where it's like that one scene in the gym where literally Nick Cage killed everyone in the span of time that it took for Renfield to like fly across half the gymnasium. And then he was just like, oh no, everyone's dead. But then at the end, you know, you just take your picture of Dracula blood and you just go, here you go, everyone. Hope everyone's feeling better. That was hilarious to me. The fact that he labeled it that.
And just left it on the coffee table.
Yeah.
We'll call it a coffee table.
Dude should have taken it home, made some ice cubes. That way, you know, you get a little ouchie ouch. You just pop an ice cube in some warm water, drink it up, and you're good.
Yeah. You brought up the thing about Dracula saying, oh man, this blood is terrible and it's unpure and blah, 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 blah. Okay, first off, Dracula, I get that you're in a rebuilding phase, but also at the same time, you can still go out at night and go hunting for yourself,
right,
dude? You know,
like you look like absolute trash. You went from burnt to looking like Davy Jones to then looking like the Phantom of the Opera, and then you know you had some weird like scarring, acne issues, and then you were fine. Mm-hmm. You could have been going out if you wanted the stuff. Go and get it yourself, baby girl.
Right.
You don't need no man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when he started. I'm like, just go out and get it yourself, my dude. Like you can do it. You putting a lot on young Renfield here to say, bring me a bus of cheerleaders.
Like I'm one guy.
And then when the bus of cheerleaders showed up, he like starts walking after him like he's gonna
chloroform all of them.
Chloroform all of them, and I was like, just chloroform the bus driver, and then drive the bus to the lair.
Or you just take the nuns. Like
that would have worked.
You don't need all of them kids. Let's be real. At least one of them's gonna be annoying and be like, actually, I'll just go with you. This was also definitely like a Gotham City style thing going on because you had so many crooked cops. Literally, even Awkwafina's partner was crooked. Oh, go call him. Yeah, okay. Did you call him? Yeah. And then they all just like, the whole police department shows up. The Bad family shows up and they're like, all right, we'll give you a raise. You get better dates to work, and what do you say, girlie? And she's just like, what? Literally, fuck all of you guys.
Right.
She's not wrong. Because she was the only, like, decent cop. She was also gaslit. Ooh.
And there was, she was. Absolutely. And, yeah, because they always talk about her dead dad, and they never explore that more. I wanted more explanation. Like, they didn't have to give me like a big long flashback scene or anything, but they could have sprinkled a little bit of stuff to flesh out that character and going, your dad was a good cop and look where it got him. That's pretty much the only thing. Like, you're just like your dad. All right, I guess. I mean, but they kind of make it a point to kind of keep harping on it, and they never go into great detail. And what does this movie have against ska music?
A lot.
What
Man,
the hell?
Chris was so upset. He was literally like, hey, why they gotta do that? And they just kept bringing it up, and it was so funny. Because, of course, those are bands that Chris have listened to since, like, high school.
Right. Ska was one. I saw a meme that said ska sounds like what a 12-year-old boy's brain is like, the music in a 12-year-old's brain when you order 4 cheese sticks at a restaurant and they give you 5. And I was like, there's no more accurate description than that right there. Like, they just bring out that thing and set it down. You count it as like 5, and you just hear Real Big Fish playing take on. Like, yep, that's it. 100%.
That was so good.
Oh, I thought maybe they did it and I just didn't notice it, but I thought that a good like counter to that joke to make those ska jokes pay off would be at the end having like a big fight scene at the end set to some ska music. You know?
Yeah.
That would have been a good payoff.
Had some My Chemical Romance in there. I was like, what's good? From their Danger Days. Anyways, that's embarrassing that I even bring that up. I was like, oh, heck yeah, My Chemical Romance? Gosh. How did you feel about... I know that we said that Ben Schwartz did great at his character. He was a little shit. He's like a grown man that's like, I've shot billions of people and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you definitely haven't shot anyone. He also was very much, and I think it's just the like style of the acting that he was doing, but it reminded me a lot of Tim Robinson style characters that he does. And it was so funny because I was like, I could literally like, you could interchange the two of them and that like it would still be the same acting. But
yeah, no, I think Ben Schwartz's character was great because that was the point of that character. You know, like it was
a little pathetic, but you know,
right.
He's gonna go running to mommy if like things don't go his way, maybe.
Right, like it wouldn't have been as good if someone like, say, The Rock did it, or John Cena. You know, I could see John Cena kind of in that role where he's just like this big tough guy, but he's really just a spoiled brat. I don't think that would have been as funny. Like with Ben Schwartz being this kind of lanky dude who clearly does not have any physical prowess to him. You know, he's not intimidating if it wasn't for his crime family. Like for him being the snivelly weasel is perfect. That's great. And this all kind of goes back to where everyone played their part really good. And that was good. I really thought, oh man, crap. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but it's like, as I'm saying something pops in my brain. And if I don't say it then I will absolutely forget it and not talk about it.
Oh, I feel you.
The one girl at therapy who kept getting interrupted every time Renfield would come in and be like, oh, well, you know, fuck Karen.
Yeah,
or
Carol.
Carol. I thought for sure that she was going to be the one to turn. That she was going to be like, oh, yes, Dracula, let me be your new familiar. Fuck these guys. I hate them.
Dude. That'd be so good.
I thought that would have been fantastic. But instead she died and I felt sad because she was funny.
They all come back. It's cool. I did like the guy that was like leading the group. He was very interesting. He just had like this weird little vibe to him that I was like, okay. I could see like if I was a part of a group like this that I went to weekly or whatever, I would probably just go for him because he's his own little character.
What you think about my homeboy Kyle? Where he's constantly just shut the fuck up, Kyle.
Yeah, everybody hates Kyle. If your name's Kyle, sorry, everyone hates you.
I thought that was so funny because I have a friend named Kyle, and every time I heard that, I thought of him. Even though my friend Kyle is a great dude and he is a dear friend, and I would never tell him to shut the fuck up. But it just I was legitimately just a laughing on the plane as I watched this coming back. I was like, shut the fuck up, Kyle.
Nice. Yeah, I think we all know Kyles, but I feel like also the Kyles that I have all met are like the nicest people ever, but I have definitely told all of them to shut the fuck up. Because you're just like, shut the fuck up, Kyle.
Yeah.
It's just so easy.
Cool. Let's see. Is there anything else that, what'd you think about the protection circle made of cocaine?
Dude. So good. God bless Wiccan Tumblr and cocaine.
That was such a, man.
When
funny
she said
gag to me.
Wiccan Tumblr,
Right.
I lost it.
She's like, apparently any powder works, and I went to Wiccan. Yes, that's the kind of jokes. I was like, that is a funny joke. That was a funny scene. Yes.
That was good. Just so everyone knows, if you have a welcome, come on in doormat, you should probably take it away if you don't want vampires.
Yeah.
I like the weird little sideways that they kind of do things where they're like, oh, we can make this into kind of a little joke because why'd you put that rug out there? You know the rules. Dim's the rules. Anyways, if you have nothing else, I have nothing else.
I don't think I have anything else. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I missed, and I just cannot think about it. I'm kind of curious. Again, I need just a little bit more lore to know if he's still going to live forever, or is the curse broken? Is he just now just a normal dude and going to, die in 50 years? Or if he eats bugs, is he still going to get strong? What's going on?
God, I hope so.
Do we need a Renfield part 2?
But it's just him being a normal, everyday person, but somehow he's still fighting bad guys.
Oh, I would love for
still
it to be
kicking ass.
Renfield 2, Werewolf Hunter.
Ooh.
That would be kind of cool. Him and Aquafina just go and just hunt monsters now. That would be kind of awesome.
I'd be down for it.
I might have to write a strongly worded letter to Hollywood.
Dear Hollywood, I'm writing this letter to you to let you know. They're like, all right, trash.
No. All right, well, let's move on. We haven't done this in a while. Oh, man. I have so much good stuff to talk about. Let's move on to our favorite part of every week. And this, we got a lot of ground to cover. Raven, what has made you happy this past week / month / 5-6 weeks since we recorded last?
Yeah, we've been doing so much. And yet somehow my brain's like, I haven't done anything. I literally had to write a list of it to just remember anything that I did. Chris and I went to a concert, just 2-hour drive from Knoxville, because he bought me tickets to go see a band that I enjoy, and we did that one night. And it was just a super small venue, because they're still a pretty small band. It's a band called Dead Poet Society. And that was great in itself. But last week, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned the first book that I had listened to the audiobook of, which is called Gideon the Ninth. It's about necromancers and their cavaliers, and it's this really cool, intense, crazy story and stuff. Well, I finally went, it's been maybe a month and a half, that I was finally able to get to the second book. So I listened to the second book last week, which is called Harrow the Ninth. And the person that recommended the book to me, I was like, man, how are they going to leave it on a cliffhanger like this? I think if the third one's already ready, I'm going to go get it. And so I listened to the third one this week. And it's just been like a crazy ride of listening to like this really cool story just while I'm at work, because the books are insanely long to listen to for audiobooks. They're like 17 hours long each, but it was amazing, and I had a really good time just listening to it, because I was kind of in a funk for a while and was like, I don't know what books to listen to, because normally it's just a bunch of true crime or whatever's just tickling my fancy at that moment. But that was nice to find a series, and the next book is due to come out next year, so I've got time to reread all the books. And yeah, so that was great. But it's Father's Day weekend, so I got to hang out some with my grandfather and celebrate him, and we had like lovely little lunch today, and it was just a nice time for us to get to see them. And yeah, I think that's about all that I've really been thankful and happy about, besides, just doing my due. We did have to take Boo, I think it was last month, we had to take him to the vet, and he gave me such a little fright, but luckily everything was okay after I took him to the emergency vet. Just ended up paying, a casual $700.
Oh.
The things we do for our little lovelies. But 17 and going strong. That's all I can ever ask for. Thank God. How about you, Mark? What has made you happy within the last myriad of time?
Okay, I got a few things. The week after we recorded last was just a non-stop adventure week. Let's see, coming off of, it was about middle of the week, and I was taking my kid to voice lessons, and my boss calls me, and he never calls me after hours. He never calls me at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. But, I work in a cool office, so I was going to be like, yeah, sure, what you need? He's like, hey, man, do you want to go to California for this thing that we're doing with our job, and then right after that, go to Hawaii? And I was like,
Dang.
yes, of course I do. And now I have to coordinate everything here on the home front with the kids. And, luckily, the first trip to California was like the last 3 days of school. So that wasn't really a big thing. It was very much just like, I need someone to take the kids to school and make sure that they get picked up. But, there's nothing going to happen these last 3 days. So, and then during that time, so that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, my boss comes into my cube. My boss's boss comes into my cube. Again, friendly with him too. We get along real good. And he goes, hey man, we're doing interviews for promotions within the office. So you are probably going to have to do an interview in the next couple weeks. And I said, cool, no problem. I will begin looking over my notes and my resume and start gathering things to discuss on the interview and things like that. And then 3 hours later, I'm at the gym on my lunch break, getting my sweat on, and he sends me a text going, yeah, you're going to interview Thursday or Friday. So either tomorrow or Friday. So just get ready. I'm like, oh crap. So set that up. 24 hours later, I'm sitting in front of my home computer on my lunch break, getting ready to call into an interview. And the way they do it for the government is they basically say, here's the questions. You talk for 15 or 20 minutes and we will take points. We will not talk to you. And it sucks, but I went in there and it was 20 minutes long and I talked for 19 of those 20 minutes nonstop. Got done. I was like, yes, I did good. I did great. I feel confident in myself that I did good. The following Monday, I am in California, and my boss calls me and goes, "Where are you at?" I go, "I'm in California. You should know I'm in California." He's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I just want to call and say congratulations. You did good. You got the job." And I'm like, "All right, rock on." So I got a job, or I got a promotion. I'm not even moving desk. I'm just getting more money. And now I'm waiting for the paperwork to go through. And then I got to go to Northern California, which was a great trip. And then right after I came home for Memorial Day, worked for 3 days, and then went and took a trip to Hawaii for 9 days, and it was incredible. Went to a luau, did some touristy stuff, just great. 9 days is just a little bit too long. If I was not there for work, I probably would have been like, I am not doing 9 days. But also a lot of it, and maybe one day I can bring the kids, but a lot of it was me going, I wonder what this place is like. And then I go there and I'm like, oh man, this is either not as cool as I thought it was going to be, or there's literally nowhere to park. And I'm not about to spend an hour driving in this little like 300-yard stretch trying to find parking. So I'm going to go somewhere else. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I would have had anyone else with me.
Yeah.
Just that freedom to be like, nope, we'll come back here later. And that's what I did. I mean, I hit every place I wanted to go, but a lot of it was, okay, today this is where I'm going. And if I have to leave the hotel at 6 o'clock in the morning to get there, to get to where I want to by 7, then so be it. So yeah.
True.
So it was super cool. It was a great time. That is what's been going on with me over the past month. It's been great. Woo.
Yippee.
Good times. So I'm ready to get my raise. And yeah. And it's a pretty substantial raise. So that definitely makes me happy.
We love to make that bag.
So all right. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the social medias?
Oh boy, you can find me over on the Twitter at spooky_raven, or on Instagram at that's a Raven Ellis. You can also find this cute little podcast on whatever platform you probably use at Nerd for No Reason. What about you, Mark?
You can find me on all social medias at Turtles Do It. Yeah, come find me. Hit me up. If you're cool, then, you can come and also join us in our Discord and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
We are, we like to think of, we are a very welcoming community, but if you start with that nonsense, we'll put the band hammer on you. So,
oh, bless.
But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. It's great to be back. I am so thrilled to be back and doing this, and, yeah, got some big stuff lined up. So got a few emails and feelers out there trying to get some more guests on the show. So yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah. Also, don't forget that if you do like us, please like, rate, review, subscribe, whatever you do, on whatever little app that you listen to us. We'd appreciate it greatly. Kiss, kiss.
All right, everybody, go do something wonderful in the world today.
You guys go ingest all the coolest, latest medias, and we'll see you hopefully again next week with a brand new episode at Nerd for No Reason podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. You can find us on all major social media platforms at Nerd for No Reason. Our podcast music is Memories in 8-Bit by Deanna Joan, aka Fergie's Human. You can follow her on Twitter at Deanna Joan Music, and check out her other social media links in the show notes of our podcast.